And welcome back to Hannity. Now, the enemies list of the administration seems to be growing day by day. And the latest victim, Dinesh D'Souza, the conservative activist, filmmaker, was indicted last night for allegedly violating election laws. Now, he's the man behind the anti-Obama documentary, 2016, Obama's America. Remember, this comes after the IRS harassed conservative groups last year. And we learned just this week that the disgraced tax agency has also recently placed extra scrutiny on a group of conservatives in Hollywood. You might not have known they existed. Now, before we turn things over to our studio audience, we bring in my next guest for his thoughts. Joining us now, legendary entertainer Pat Boone himself. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I don't know about that legendary part, but I may have to come move in with you in Florida, Sean.
Well, you know, I will never forget Andrew Breitbart. I was talking with Kerry Pickett earlier today, was the first person to tell me about this group in Hollywood. He goes, "You're not going to believe it. There are conservatives in Hollywood, friends of Abe. But you can't tell anybody," he told me. And then he told me some of the members. You were a member of this group, right?
Yes, right, have been for years. And when there was about 30 people meeting in a little restaurant, and now the last meetings we had of all of our membership is over 2,000. And these are people on every level of the entertainment industry who are conservative, who've been conservative right along, but have been intimidated into saying anything or even voicing their views. And so Friends of Abe, after Abraham Lincoln, was created to simply give us a place for fellowship, to share our views without intimidation, and in many cases without fear of losing employment.
Real quick, tell us what happened and how the group was targeted, and what did the IRS say to the organization?
Now, I'm not privy to what the IRS has said, but I do know they've stonewalled their application for nonprofit status, which they certainly are entitled to. And it's been 3 years in which they have been obviously now targeted and may be prohibited if this administration can have their way, only because, not because they launch campaigns, not because they produce films or TV. They meet and talk together. They fellowship. We do. And we have speakers come in and talk to us. We're just folks who really are trying to come to our own independent conclusions about what's best for the country. We have every right and every liberty to do that now, but the IRS has become the thought police. And if we are in any way dissenting with the policies of this government, they want to shut us down or at least not give us nonprofit status. Meanwhile, George Soros and MoveOn.org and all those other organizations, they do fine, although they're far more political action committees, which FOA is not, never has been, and doesn't intend to be.
All right, Pat, by the way, you are indeed legendary. Thank you for being with us. Appreciate you setting the table for us tonight. Thank you. All right, as we turn it over to our studio audience, you know, Candace, your first time on the show, right?
Absolutely.
All right, I don't know if you're a liberal or conservative, but you hear about the IRS targeting Tea Party groups, conservatives, now Friends of Abe. There seems to be a pattern emerging.
Well, actually, I don't think there's really anything new, because when you're a person that's conservative or have any kind of moral base, what's going to happen is that simply you're not going to be accepted. So it really doesn't matter whether or not you're Republican, Independent, or Democrat. What matters is that you do the right thing. And what's happening is it's like the slippery slope. We're starting to do things that are not right, that are not acceptable, and we're targeting those people that choose to continue to have a moral base.
David, you and I disagree on a lot of politics. We've known each other a long time. We've had a few debates, some heated, right? I'd be pretty angry if liberals were targeted by a Republican or conservative president. Why isn't there more outrage from the left?
Well, I mean, there were, I think, Democrats and others that spoke out about the IRS. There were members of Congress that did. There was an investigation. Now, listen, Congressman Ice has investigated this. The FBI has investigated this.
You and I both know it was systematic. It was many groups, and it was a concerted effort to intimidate.
Well, there's a difference between bureaucratic malpractice or malfeasance and an ideological agenda perpetrated by a political party against others of particular belief. And what I think what's missing here is any evidence to suggest that this was either orchestrated by the White House, by members of the administration, one political party. Now, there were mistakes.
All right, let's get to Nina.
There were mistakes
You want to
made.
respond to that? Go ahead.
But there's a difference.
Big government is a bully, is evil, and will target those who are critical of anything that's going on in this current administration, from nuns to World War II vets to bankrupting the coal industry. Even banking executives are being targeted. Jamie Dimon criticized the banking regulations. They were hit with a $15 billion fine, a settlement with the government. S&P downgraded the country. The executive there was threatened by Tim Geithner.
Let me expand that out. And Hadley, don't forget, everyone here and everybody watching at home, they're being spied on by the government, and that's not what we were told would happen when Jim Sensenbrenner wrote that law.
And what's really sad about this story, Sean, is that I believe in free markets, and that includes a free marketplace of ideas. And there are some people who are truly open-minded. They watch your show. They may watch other shows. They're trying to decide who's right, what to believe, what's the truth. And we get closer to the truth when we have everyone involved in the conversation. When we hear that groups are intimidated to even speak what they believe, that's wrong. That's withholding part of the conversation.
Keisha, come into the discussion. Keisha.
Yeah, I agree. I think that people should be able to voice their views, whether it be popular or not. And I'm one, most people can't figure out if I'm liberal or conservative because I share both views. And I feel
I'm
that
winning you over day by day.
I see. No, but I just feel no group should be targeted. But then again, no law should be broken as well. So,
Sean, I'm a member.
All right, Amy, real quick, and then we got to go.
I want to add something. I've been to a Friend of Abe event, and you see these Hollywood folks who are coming out of the woodwork. You're one too. You're one too. In this case, what the IRS is asking for is basically a government blacklist. They want the names of the members of Friends of Abe, and that is government bullying.
That's the insidious nature of it. Unger, go ahead.
I mean, the problem is Pat didn't help his case. He doesn't understand what a 501c3 is, and that's what this is about. Doesn't say you. Yes, it is. I'm sorry, but that's exactly what it is.
All right, I'll tell you what. We got to pick it up.
It is.
We'll come back, and coming up next, my next guest.